Hello everyone, so I was a bar citizen in Xi'an, China, 2nd of May 2026. Here's a video, Xi'an bar citizen Q&A, May 2026. Link to this is my first pinned comment below. What I find funny is they don't have enough microphones. Crewe and Erin answered questions. And here's a transcription on Ask Star Citizen. Link to this is my first pinned comment as well. Now, I won't read everything, I only want to talk about things I find important. Question 2. Are there any plans to improve the ability of larger ships to counter smaller light fighters, such as the flag weapons mentioned at last year's CitizenCon? Crewe, yes, we are well aware that larger ships are still suffering against smaller fighters. Flag is going to be one of the primary defenses against that, stopping fighters from getting close enough to do any damage. I wonder when we will ever see flak in a game. Do we need special guns for this, or is this just special ammunition? And how is flak supposed to solve this issue when we still have massive dosings in a game, even dosings of players and NPCs at walking speeds? Even in instances like Onyx facilities, NPCs are teleporting, desyncing all over the place. And now on 4.8 PTU, CRG made it so that fast-firing light fighter guns can again harm an Idris. I don't get any vibes that CRG knows what they are doing. So I guess flag is 2 years away. 2 years every 2 years. Question 3. Will torpedoes and missiles be affected by aerodynamics when launched in atmospheric environments? Crewe, yes, they use a simplified flight model compared to ships, but they do have a flight model, so they will be impacted. As a bonus, when you launch torpedoes, your ship gets lighter and your performance changes as a result. Another thing Chris and CIG are talking for, I think 12 years by now. If you fire your weapons, your ship gets lighter, has less mass and will be more agile. Still nowhere to be seen. Star Citizen isn't exactly very good when it comes to physics, so color me very skeptical that we will ever see this. Question 6. What is the core gameplay loop for exploration ships in 1.0? Will there be functional exploration modules rather than just better fuel tanks or stronger radar? Crewe, gameplay loops aren't really my area, but yes, we want there to be meaningful things to do for exploration. We are aware there isn't a clear definition yet what exploration means in Star Citizen, and that has changed over the years as the project scope has grown. That's one for systems and game designs to answer, not me. I don't think the scope has grown. Actually, 1.0 will be a bare minimum project with just 5 star systems, missing basic mechanics, almost no physics, no alien worlds, and not even NPC crews. There won't be any role for exploration in 1.0 with just 5 mostly empty star systems. Question 8. Will upgraded ships have different weapon hardpoint layouts? For example, will Tier 5 Gladius get size 4 guns instead of size 3s? Crewe, that's not currently the plan. That's good, but still, your crafted Tier 5 Gladius will be much better than any Gladius you can buy in-game or you can buy with real money. CRG doesn't seem to realize that they are destroying their main income. Question 9. Are there plans for automated cargo loading and unloading at major spaceports, particularly for mission cargo? Crewe, we still want to support automated loading and unloading. It will just be less efficient in both time and cost compared to doing it yourself or with your crew. It will be optional. Crewe. How should automated loading be less efficient than loading, let's say, a hull C, one container at a time using a magical handheld tractor beam? This doesn't make sense. Even Chris said the crew of a container ship doesn't do the loading themselves. This was more than 9 years ago. Chris was very specific. Loading ships one by one using a magical handheld tractor beam is just lame. Might be okay if you just want to load like 5 or 6 containers, but don't tell me it makes any sense loading bigger ships that way. And don't tell me this is old, plans changed. People watched this and people gave Chris money because of what he said.
Steve Apollyon asks, Are there any plans on cargo loading of the bigger ships, such as the whole series of ships, and is the loading at a space station or even planetary going to be automatic, or will we have specialized small cargo loading ships similar to Argo to load manually if we choose to, similar to the Argo?
Yeah, we have talked about the fact that we don't want the larger ships to basically just, park it, click the button, and it's done. That these larger ships that have vast quantities of materials would actually take a significant period of time to unload and may result in missions for NPCs and or other players to actually undertake. We've actually got a pretty comprehensive design right now, but we're still iterating through that because we actually want to unify some of the functionality for loading and unloading.
Like if I have a big container ship and I pull into the port of LA here at Long Beach, there's a whole setup. There's longshoremen, big cranes, and there's service, and the crew of the container ship don't actually unload the containers themselves. There's equipment that does it, and there's people that are paid to do that. And I would say that in general, in sort of the bigger sort of spaceports, you would have that same kind of setup where you would have the ability to unload the bigger ships, unload the containers. Potentially, we've talked about having the ability for players to sort of play the part of a longshoreman if they're running around in a Largo and taking off a container from a Hully and dropping it to another place and doing that, or having AI do that. And then there obviously will be cases where, which is probably a later question we have here, but there'll be manual unloading and loading of cargo where you don't have the sort of big services, like if I just had a ship and I was off the coast somewhere and there wasn't a port, then obviously I would have to be doing it myself. And so I think we've been looking at ways that you have the sort of automatic option that's the services provided.
Automatic option when appropriate, but the fidelity so that on these smaller ships you can actually, and this makes for much more interesting gameplay in a lot of times, in a lot of different cases, because you can imagine scenarios to where you need to deliver a smaller quantity, a half dozen, a dozen, specific crates of some sort of, illegal liquor or something to somebody at a planet.
I think so the answer is there will be services, but we'll also have some specialized ships and equipment for unloading cargo.
Question 10. Are there plans for additional smaller vehicle elevators in large or extra large hangars for vehicles like PTV, ground vehicles, or even small fighters like a Gladius? John Crewe, we do plan to support ground vehicles coming up via the freight elevator scaled by hangar size. John Crewe seems to have a very weak memory because CRG showed us exactly this more than 2 years ago. Ground vehicles coming up the cargo elevator, not the ship elevator. But now John Crewe talks about we have plans.
Tell me lies. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies, tell me lies.
Question 12. Can the elevator speed for extra large hangars be improved? Also, can you fix the bug where calling a ship causes it to show as destroyed on the ESOP terminal? John Crewe, we can look at the speeds. It moves slowly because it's a homologous pad and we want a level of realism. If it moved 3 times faster, it would look fake. But we can look at whether it could be sped up. As for the ship destroyed bug, yes, that's a bug we want to fix. It annoys us as much as it annoys players. We want realism, otherwise it would look fake. John Crewe, do you realize that everything in Star Citizen looks fake? Star Citizen is almost pure magic. There are almost no physics in Star Citizen. We have handheld magical tractor beams that can move masses exceeding 100 tons without any effort. Why do we even need stairs and elevators in this game if we have this magical tech? Most ships in Star Citizen would just tumble in space because vector of thrust is not aligned with center of mass. And most ships in Star Citizen don't even have gimbaled main engines. This would be like driving a car without steering. Everything in Star Citizen is fake. There are almost no physics. But now you talk about a level of realism, John Crewe. Are you for real? It seems like CRG always only plays a realism card when they want to make life for us players as boring and tedious as possible. Time sinks on top of time sinks. Oh, and John Crewe, last time I checked, we don't die in real life if we don't drink for 3 hours or if we don't eat for 5. Star Citizen still doesn't have any accelerated time. Question 15. Will there be flyable ships that can also float on water? John Crewe, we changed it semi-recently, so ships don't instantly explode when they touch water. Now they have to actually go underwater. There aren't any current plans for ships that can also sail. Oh, I didn't know that CIG changed this. Maybe I should check it out. Question 18. Will a Kraken get a medical bay? John Crewe, the original concept didn't have any med bays, but in the previous Q&A we said it would. So I can confirm now that it will have 2 med beds. I'm not going to say what tier. Question 22. Can armor restocking be separated from torpedo and missile restocking? When mixed together, it gets very expensive. For example, on the Perseus, I might only want to restock the ballistic ammo, not the torpedoes. John Crewe, yes, that's something we want to do. I don't have an insight on when, but for ships like the Perseus, it's very inconvenient. Something we want to do. We have plans. We want to support this. This is not a small studio just starting. Question 24. For ships like F-7C Ghost or Vanguard Sentinel, is dedicated electronic warfare and hacking gameplay still planned, or are they just lower EM signature and EMP variants? John Crewe, not able to give a definite answer on that. We want them to be electronic warfare ships, so having a lower signatures is a good start. Yeah, we just made it up. We sold those ships as electronic warfare ships, so people buy them, but we still, in year 14 with more than $1 billion in funding, don't even have a concept of a plan for electronic warfare. Question 26. Will the fleet commanding UI from the Bengal Bridge in Squadron 42 come to the PU? If so, how? John Crewe, I can't go into the how, but yes, we want those holoclopes you see in Squadron 42 to be your fleet commander view. If you played Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 2 commander mode, it gives you the same overview of the battlefield where you can say, I want you to go here, you to go here. Yeah, quite a few ships have holoclopes. To this day, CIG never showed how those are supposed to work. And a lot of ships have very limited or no command and control functions. For example, the Hammerhead Captain has no tools to gather any tactical awareness. All he has is a 2D radar screen, and you can try to look out of the window, but you won't see much looking out. I wish that CIG would visit real warships. Even a World War II corvette has lots of tools to gather tactical awareness. In Star Citizen year 14, we still have nothing. Well, we have a radar, which is a little bit helpful, and you can try to look out of the window, but that's useless. Game Direction System Aaron Roberts, question 27. Stability of the PU and lower server FPS are getting more serious as we approach 1.0. What are the plans to address this? Aaron Roberts, lots of plans. Number 1 is moving from static server meshing to dynamic server meshing. Once again, CIG always has the next carrot ready. Now it's dynamic server meshing and Maelstrom. And when this fails, there will be the next carrot ready. For example, super dynamic server meshing and super Maelstrom. Question 32. System-wide environmental effects like the pyro stellar storms and the EMP effects on ships, which appeared in 4.1 Evocati, will those be reintroduced to the PU? Aaron Roberts, yes. When I played 4.0 and pyro stellar storms were really brutal, so I'm not so sure if CIG really wants to reintroduce those, but Aaron Roberts said yes. In my opinion, this means this will take years, or maybe it will just get dropped. Question 34. Are there plans for underwater exploration, ocean biomes, fauna, flora? Aaron Roberts, yes, but it's not going to happen in the near future. 100% we plan to have all our locations and planets feature underwater biomes. Exploration of underwater biomes, fauna and flora, that's underwater as well. Translation, it's not going to happen in the near future, means it won't be in a game in the next 6 years. Maybe never. I find it always very interesting, kinda strange, that Aaron and Chris Roberts almost always say yes to every question. If you watch the old 10 for the Chairman with Chris Roberts never said no to any suggestion of a new mechanic, but we still don't even have 10% of the stretch goals in year 14. In addition, CRT still fails again and again at basic things other games are doing well, even after rework of rework of rework. For example, UI in general, inventory system, item interaction, star map, and even instancing. CRT fails at all of this, things other games are doing nicely. So we should believe CRT can make underwater biomes, fauna and flora? Like I mentioned, links to the video and to the summary are my first pinned comment below. If you want to, you can watch it and read every question and answer. Servers also this. Are you done now? AI plates for main turrets is gone. Patient Worth 1508. That's a different video. This is a Q&A. That's an SCL. They played it at this event for us. It will probably be released next week. Here's a Spectrum posting by Matt Max. Link to this is my first pinned comment as well. Kick the Hornet's Nest V2. Manned turrets will not support AI plates. I guess this was in the SCL CRT showed in Xi'an. Previous Q&As explicitly said manned turrets could be automated via plates. For example here, Hammerhead Q&A. Are the ship computers powerful enough to run all turrets by AI plates? The plan is that you won't be able to completely convert all turrets to be controlled via AI using the default loadout. We presently estimate that 4 of the 6 can be converted to AI as standard without any extra item tweaks, but this system is still to be implemented. Here, CRT said it very clearly, 4 of the 6 manned turrets can be converted to AI using plates. And this in standard settings. And now it's not true anymore. Perseus Q&A. Will it have pilot-controlled weapons? Will both big manned turrets be able to link to the pilot via computer plates if the crew gets sick? Like other ships with manned turrets, they are designed to be human-operated. However, as a fallback, they will be able to be NPC crewed or equipped with a computer plate. I am altering the deal. Pray, I won't alter it any further. And same here in Hurricane Q&A. The plan is to support slave turrets in general. Translation, we have your money, now get fucked. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye, auf Wiedersehen.
Chris is an amazing young man. He wears dresses occasionally, yes, but don't we all have skeletons in the closet? It's not something to judge the man for, it's something to celebrate. And we celebrate Chris around here on the set, whether he's in his can-can outfit or not. We love him, we care about him, and we ask him to get some help. That's all.
Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.